will look at how questions are set. I understand that several learners or candidates ask themselves how questions are set when it comes to the book or the novel An Artist of the Floating World by Kazuo Ishiguro. But I want to let you know that questions are very easy depending on whether you've gone through the book several times. It gives you that confidence to go through the questions. It gives you that assurity that you'll be able to tackle the questions depending on what they are asking. So these questions, you have to note that they are set uh, based on different items. And when we talk about essay questions, they can be thematic, which means they can base uh, their concern on the themes or styles. A question may ask about a given style from the book. A question may ask about a given character and or character traits, depending on how that given character is linked in the entire book and all they do. So first, I will give an example or examples of questions that are thematic, the easy questions that base their questions on themes. Themes. I hope that my candidates or my learners understand what themes are. Uh, those are the main areas talked about in novels or any other book. So a question like discuss the theme of allegiance as depicted in the novel An Artist of the Floating World by Kazuo Ishiguro. And these questions are normally 20 marks, like this one. So you're asked to discuss the theme of allegiance. And what is allegiance? You know, when you're asked these particular issues, allegiance is a theme. And you have to understand the meaning of these words that are used to describe themes, like allegiance. What is the meaning of this word? After understanding the meaning, it will be easy for a candidate to analyze the question. And that is how the analysis starts. It starts by first understanding the meaning of that particular theme, the word that is describing the theme, like allegiance. This is loyalty, loyal to a particular cause or to a nation. When somebody is loyal and committed to a nation or to a particular cause, then it means that person is practicing some allegiance. So allegiance is also evident in this particular book. And if a learner has to understand how to go through this question, he has to look at uh, most characters who are loyal to their nation, that is Japan, as per this particular book, beginning with the narrator of the book, Masuji Ono, among other artists that are talked about. Also the ones who participate in the construction of the new world, that is the new buildings in Japan after the experience of the war. So all those show some allegiance that is evident. So when a learner answers this question, he or she has to first of all understand the people who are revolving around this particular theme, those who are contributing, uh, especially when you look at the main ones. That is what will give a candidate a way to go about this particular question. There is also another question, the question about themes. This essay that discuss the theme of grief. Grief as depicted in the novel An Artist of the Floating World by Kazuo Ishiguro. What is grief? The theme of grief. So you have to understand, first understand the meaning of the word grief before you can give the illustrations and evidence from the text. So it is good that candidates have to understand the meanings of these words that are used to describe themes. So like grief now, yeah. And it's good that candidates must understand that before beginning writing the essay, that is giving the answer to the essay questions, first candidates must understand that there is what we call an introduction. An introduction could be categorized in three types. There could be what we call general introduction. A general introduction is based on society. It's not giving an illustration from the text. We also have a specific or contextual type of introduction. This type of introduction is basing the illustrations from the book in regards to the question. And we also have the mix of the two. That is the general introduction versus the specific type of introduction or contextual. When they are mixed within one introduction, uh, that is also another type. So after that, then there is another part that we call the body. In the body paragraphs of the essay, those are points, the main points that answer the question. They could be four of them. They could be four body paragraphs. And that will give the learner 3 marks each. And 3 times 4 is 12. The introduction will also give 3. And the conclusion will give uh, 2 marks. Yeah, the introduction gives 2 marks and the conclusion 2 marks, but the body paragraphs, which are giving the responses, give a candidate each 3 marks. So 12 plus 2 of the introduction, that is 14, then plus 2 of the conclusion, that is 16. We remain with 4 marks for a candidate to score 20. Where do we get the 4 marks from? The 4 marks a candidate will get from what we call language use. Language. And this language can be based on grammar, among other areas of language that a learner employs in the writing. So that is what will give the complete marks when it comes to essay marking. So this essay also, as I continue looking at other areas like, okay, before I move to other areas of the types of questions, uh, these essays that ask about themes. There could be others that are not direct, like the ones I've mentioned before. The ones I've mentioned before, they are just talking of a particular theme. They are telling you directly that that is a theme. But we have other questions which do not clarify whether that is a theme, but it's the role of a candidate to understand that that is a theme. Like a question asking, loyalty is key in an organization. Basing your illustrations on An Artist of the Floating World by Kazuo Ishiguro supports the argument. So this one is not specific, but we understand loyalty is a type of a theme. So when the question is asking this way, it is the role of a learner or candidate to ensure that they understand the meaning of the word loyalty and also understand that loyalty is a theme. And there's also another question, uh, or is a question that is asking about a theme, or that's about a theme. Like family plays an important role to a person's well-being. Up to that point, that is where the question is. That is the main area of an essay. Before they ask you, they tell you that it is based on which text. The main part is the one that is carrying that particular theme, like now family. So the role, in short, this question is asking about the role of a family in an individual or to an individual. Every person, we understand that they belong to a family, and a family is very crucial because it plays the main role in a person's life and well-being. So this question is about the theme of family. You know, there's that theme of family uh, in various books, and particularly in this, we understand that there is the family of Masuji Ono, the main narrator of this particular book, and we also have various families like the family of the family that engages in marriage negotiations with Masuji Ono, and the family of Akira Sugimura, among other families. So all these families contribute to this theme. Dr. Saito, that is another family, the family of Dr. Saito. And we also have every other character that is mentioned in this particular book belongs to a family. So that family plays an important role to a person's well-being. Using illustrations from the novel An Artist of the Floating World by Kazuo Ishiguro show how true this statement is. So understand that before starting, before you give your introduction, you have to study the question and understand what it's all about. Is it about a theme? Is it about a style? Is it about a character? When understanding, after understanding all that, then it will be easy for a candidate to start a good introduction. So remember, when an introduction is good, if it is breathtaking, if it's an introduction that will draw the attention of an examiner, then it means earning good marks will be of the essence. It will be easy for a candidate to earn good marks whenever the introduction is so attractive. So it becomes something so crucial. So we could also have other essay questions that base their questions on styles or stylistic devices or language and style. For example, if you get a question like, the author has been able to effectively employ imagery to bring out the message in the text. Illustrate the effectiveness of this style in the text An Artist of the Floating World by Kazuo Ishiguro. So this particular question is a question, is an essay question about stylistic devices. So the stylistic device that is being asked here is imagery. Imagery is wide. It has several devices. But when you have to understand, when you understand that the question is asking about stylistic devices, like this one is not specific to a certain stylistic device, but it is giving you a room to bring many other or various types of imagery that we may have in the book. Like you can talk about one imagery per paragraph, not from the introduction, but in the body paragraphs. You talk about like one point. Each paragraph has one idea, or should have one idea. So a learner should understand this and note that it is something crucial when you analyze the question. After understanding it, it becomes easy for you to draw some points. There could also be another question like, the author has been able to effectively employ irony to bring out the message of the text. Illustrate the effectiveness of this style in the text An Artist of the Floating World by Kazuo Ishiguro. So this one is talking about a specific style, unlike the previous one. This one is asking a candidate to illustrate the use of irony, the use of irony in the entire text. It is not specifying the areas where a candidate should draw illustrations from, but it is good for a candidate to draw illustrations from the entire book. Beginning, it is good for a candidate to also write logical or in logical sequence. That is, if you are giving the first uh, illustration, give from the first pages and moving on and on like that. You cannot. There's no way it can't be that logic when you start giving your illustrations from the last page of the book as the first body paragraph. So it's good for us to be logic. You have to organize your work in a good sequence that even gives the examiner that particular arrangement that shows exactly you understand the flow of the book or how events unfold. If you understand how events unfold, then it becomes easy for you to respond to questions effectively. Um, there's another question also that talks about stylistic devices as an essay. So this particular essay, like how does Ishiguro distinguish the atmosphere of the floating world from that of the regular world using imagery and figurative language? So this one is also bringing out the issue of imagery as well as. Yes, we now continue. Like in these stylistic devices, when they are asked in these essay questions, like the one I'm talking about here, like flashback. The question is asking this way that flashback as a style provides crucial information in the main plot of events in the novel An Artist of the Floating World by Kazuo Ishiguro. So here, the examiner is trying to ask about one stylistic device, and that is flashback. So how is it? So the second question is how is this flashback crucial? How is it crucial? Since it gives what we call the crucial information in the main plot of events in the novel. So here we have to first understand where is this flashback in the book. After understanding where flashback can be found in the book, then turning that into illustrations becomes easy. But without understanding, when you are told to discuss, the examiner has just asked you to discuss. This means that you have to give proper illustrations and examples from the book, not your own explanations, not your own uh, way of thinking. So it's very clear here that other questions can also be based on what we call characterization. That an essay question may ask about characters or the way some characters behave in the promotion of how events unfold. So, like Ono is widely considered to be an example of unreliable narrator in the text An Artist of the Floating World by Kazuo Ishiguro. What does this phrase actually mean? And in what way does Ono prove that the moniker fits him? So this particular question is based on what we call characterization. That like now it's asking about Ono's characterization or character traits and how the traits of Ono uh, are portrayed in the book and how that particular behavior plays a role in the promotion of what we call the plot in this particular book. Yeah, so some questions can also be intertwined. What do I mean? That one question could be asking about stylistic devices and themes in the same question. A question may ask about a character, how a character behaves, as well as another theme, a theme that that character promotes in the book. So, when answering these essay questions, the essay question require that a candidate understands the flow of events in the entire book. Without understanding, it becomes so difficult for a candidate to give a good analysis or a good illustration of how events unfold. So it takes the learner's responsibility to read the book continuously. After finishing, just go back to the first page and read from cover to cover. Continuous reading of the book will give points because you may reach an exam room, then you lack points of how you should put it down or you should put everything on paper. So it's so crucial for a candidate to read the book continuously, master the concept in the entire book. So I think by now candidates have a clue on how questions are set. But it's so crucial to understand that after writing an introduction paragraph, writing the body paragraphs, there is a conclusion. A conclusion is just a short illustration or a short paragraph that will give a summary of what has been talked about. You just review or give whatever that you've been talking about in the body paragraphs in summary form. That gives what we call the conclusion, and it earns 2 marks to a candidate. Thank you for your time. Remember to subscribe, and God will bless you. Thank you so much.